I hate to start this on a somber mood, but I was at a memorial service this morning for a good man who finished well. And that's encouraging. I'm encouraged by Paul, the Apostle Paul, writer of most of the New Testament. He said, imitate or follow me as I imitate or follow Christ. And this man, who we memorialized this morning, is one who is following Christ, and therefore who I feel worth following. May I end as well as he did. Also in a week is Easter, probably the highest of the Christian holidays, holidays, in the celebration of the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, the defeat of death, and kind of the final exclamation point, not the final, but the exclamation point on all of his claims. As they say, if God didn't want Jesus to, or didn't believe or agree with what Jesus had to say, he could have just left him dead. So in light of all that, the nature of life, the value of life, the role that death plays in life, I have a beer that has been sitting in my fridge for some time that has been reminding me of life. The name Bounty speaks of harvest and so forth, which is all about life and both the use of life to preserve life. The nature of the beer, a wine-derived beer, or a beer that involves wine ingredients. I don't know what it is about those beers, but they tend to remind me of life more. So this is the 2019 Bounty by Fortside. It is a very terroir-focused beer. It is from the Walla-Walla region, I believe. Yeah. And it uses a whole bunch of different ingredients that are native to that region. Walla-Walla grown Genie barley and hard red wheat malts. Growing up, we would grind our own wheat for bread, and we hated that hard red winter wheat. It was one of the cheaper wheat, so we got it a lot, and then we told Mom we don't like that. We much preferred the lighter golden 86, kind of a blonde or a golden wheat berry that was far lighter in color, and we liked the flavor and texture better. And it was fermented alongside Les Collines Tempranillo grapes from the Walla-Walla AVA. We fermented only with the yeasts that were found on the grape skins. Now that is something. Typically, beer yeasts are their own thing. They're actually pretty akin to baker's yeast, as I recall, but wine is traditionally fermented using the yeasts found on the skins of the fruits that the wine is being made from. So this is very much a wine-based beer. In fact, why can you call it a beer? Oh, because it's based on malt. It's fermented malts, ipso facto, ergo sunt, prost hopto, or whatever thingamajigger. It's a beer. So let's drink this beer. Interesting. So the bottle actually even has two check marks, check yes or no, still or sparkling, and still is sparked. It's also an 11% ABV, and like I said, it is 2019. So this is a 7-year-old beer now. Packaged in both still and carbonated versions. Check the bottle, naturally fermented, bottle condition, 0 sulfites. Yeah, interesting. Also, I'm expecting this to be pretty tart, possibly even dry. Being that it is a 6 or 7-year-old wine-based beer, any residual sugars I'm expecting to be long gone. The color, that is a fetching color. Goodness gracious. And yeah, it is still, so there is no head to speak of. which, considering it's bottle fermented, or sorry, bottle conditioned, you would generally expect more carbonation, because that's one of the results of bottle conditioning, is an additional head or a particular type of head. And there was no head to speak of, but it does say it is still. But that color, that is ruby. There's perhaps a hint of brown, so like a yellow or a blue added. But that is just a gorgeous color. It says it's wine based, and I would be happy to drink a wine that looked like that. Forget what it tastes or, well, smells or tastes like. Well, I suppose I'd get to that point eventually, but oh. Fun thing exploring unique beers. Sometimes it's just really catches you by surprise what can be beer and what beer can be. This smells black currants. There's a little bit of acidity to the nose, but not very much. It's kind of a combination of dried currants, which have a little bit of a deeper, slightly smoky or woody note to them, in addition to the really bright, just beautiful, kind of sweet berry grape-like aroma that is currant. Yeah, the first sniff was surprisingly sweet. Now that I get my nose in there more, and there is a bit of a breeze, standard disclaimer, we have chicks inside right now, and they'll be inside for another couple months, so you kind of get used to the smell, to be honest, but it is what it is, and I don't really want to color my beer appreciation with smelling the birds in the next room. Yeah, there is a bit of a smoky note to that. Not like smoky, more a woody sharpness and a little bit of roast. It's approaching smokiness, yeah. Now I'm smelling the tartness. Like back here, that's the fruit. But once you get your nose in there, it's pretty tart. Yeah, a little bit of a, the malt is present there, considering it's, there's grapes and all that kind of stuff, and grape skins and grape yeasts and all that. The malt is still surprisingly present and gives it this nutty, sweet, almost like a crisp or a crumble over your fruit tart, like I guess a cobbler. Trying to isolate what's, atmospheric and what's in the cup. It smells really good. Like beautiful, wonderful, alive things of all sorts. Not confused, but multiple very beautiful, alive things. But yeah, it also smells tart. Let's see how it tastes. Oh. Oh. Okay. This is entirely unique in my experience. I was expecting this to be acerbically, vitally tart, sour, puckering even. Generally, when I let a tart wine-based beer sit this long, it becomes that. This tasted like you blended a really decent red wine. I don't know enough about wines to be able to point out specific types. They note like a Pinot Noir or a European Syrah. There's a bit of woodiness. There's those currants. There's grapes, but there's also a really nice, nutty, smooth, mild, fortifying brown ale at the same time. I would say the wine is the predominant character, but the beer, it is still a beer. It still tastes of beer. But first you're getting your head around the fact that you're drinking wine from a beer bottle or a bottle that calls itself beer. And it is not bracingly tart. This is a seriously tasty and interesting beer. And the fact that they got all this stuff, like all the ingredients for this, all from the same place, like the same valley, Walla-Walla area, it makes me want to visit Walla-Walla to learn what all there is in here, right? I guess that's the point. You know, they say with a really good French wine, you can, you know, a wine from, say, maybe the coast, you can taste the salt and the stones and the oysters and kind of stuff and so forth. And this makes me want to see what it is in Walla Walla that made it in this bottle, because it tastes like there's wonderful, beautiful things, right? And the most surprising thing, again, is how untart it is. There is still residual sweetness. I'm wondering how much bottle conditioning went on in here, because typically over time you expect the bottle, the yeasts that are put in the bottle to continue to process the sugars and just dry that beer out. And that's generally what's going to change over time in the beer. Is it's going to dry out. There's going to be some maturation, but you're not getting the maturation you expect from a barrel, from wood, which actually like inhales and exhales the moisture, the liquid that you put inside it. And so the beer or the wine like seeps into the wood during certain temperatures and humidities and air pressures and seasons, and then gets pushed out of the wood and back into the solution during other temperatures and seasons and air pressures and humidity levels. And so it does this kind of breathing back and forth. This is just sitting inside a glass bottle. So the only changes are happening inside the beverage itself. It's the chemicals and the nutrients and the little animals that are yeast acting upon each other and themselves. And so I'm not that sort of maturation, not the barrel sort, but generally you're expecting the sugar to go down and other results of the yeast, other byproducts of the yeast to go up. And so I was expecting this to be fully dried out, but it wasn't. Now, I do believe that I pulled this out of Brian Ballan's trailer. And so unlike some of the other bottles that I have aged myself for this long, I tend to do most of my personal aging inside a cupboard. And that cupboard generally is inside a room that goes between 60 and 68 degrees, maybe upper 50s, like 58 and 68 degrees. I would guess the cupboard stays in the low 60s most of the time, but it's on the other end of the house from where we run the wood stove, and so it doesn't get the high temperature fluctuations. It stays a little bit cooler. So this one has been kept refrigerated its entire life, and I do wonder how much of an impact that would have. But over 7 years, I would still expect there would have been over 7 years. I would still expect there to have been some change to it. I'm just not exactly sure what, and obviously there's no way I can go back to 2019 and grab a fresh bottle. But I will definitely be looking for Bounty if I can find it again, because this is a wonderful beer. And you can appreciate it like a really beautiful wine. It's kind of soft even. Like, even with certain wines, you can expect some acidity. And with this, no, it's grapes. In fact, oh my goodness. The parallels. I love how my brain just goes, squirrel. But no, they're related. At the Last Supper, excuse me, at the Last Supper, Jesus said, as he was handing out the cup, he said, "Take, drink. This is my blood that was shed for you. This is the new covenant in my blood that was shared for you. Truly I tell you, I will not drink again until I drink it anew with you in the city of God," which is to say, in the world to come. To drinking in the world to come. Yeah. I definitely give this beer 4 stars. This is a beer worth drinking. It is a tasty beer. It is a well-executed beer. It is a beer that can show you what beer can be. It's a beer that could maybe expand the horizons of someone who's more of a wine person and less of a beer person. Yeah, it can be all those things. Yeah, definitely. 4 stars. 4 stars for Fortside's Bounty, particularly from 2019. But I consider this a really good advertisement for any of the bounties. I hope that's a reoccurring series. And I will definitely be keeping my eyes peeled for them. So until next time, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.